Rich, thank you very much, and it's so good to see you again. We have served together in so many different capacities. In fact, if you like the work that I did as governor, thank you. But if you did not, he permitted me to do that because I was still teaching at the time and all. On a serious note, that Fred has been a part of the success of the campus and of the relationship here, having held just about every position at College Park and at the system, except for a few years when he got lost in Ohio, but readily came back. But I am very pleased to be here. This is a wonderful opportunity for us to come together with everyone and to celebrate 20 years of collaboration between the university and the town, and to offer congratulations to the College Park City-University Partnership. But it's not only about looking back and celebrating, it is also about looking forward and asking ourselves, where are we going and what is the next step? I will tell you we are very fortunate in that President Wallace Lowe understands the importance of this relationship and has continued so much of the community building between the two major entities. I'm also pleased to be here. My friend, Senator, Ambassador, a variety of other titles, most of which are printable, Jim Roosevelt, but Jim has been a remarkable force between liaison between the state and the state government and the partnership. I would also, and I'm going to take Brett's advice and not comment on specific names everywhere, but it has been very interesting watching all the mayors that have stepped forward and that have worked on this. I can go back years and think of the contributions for the mayors. But we wouldn't be here other than the fact that a number of the mayors have been willing to step forward, because sometimes being a proponent of better, not just relations, but real partnership with the university is not necessarily a good thing that helps with votes elsewhere in the city. And so it took some leadership, and for all of you, I say, the mayors, I say thank you very much. Now, someone on the executive directors of the partnership and all, as well, no, city council, not the city and county council, but all have done a phenomenal job. And then we've got to remember as well, on the partnership, it is about the business community. They're not there as much in a formal sense, but much of what is going on that's so exciting would not be happening if the business community didn't not only buy in, but enthusiastically offer vision, offer a lot of capital assets, and make a difference as well. I mean, this goes all the way back to an institution in College Park, John Brown, and our very beloved Bentleys, who I'm sure was never ever a problem for university relations, up to the tremendous work that people today are putting in, including the newcomers like Scott Plank, but all of these individuals are making a big difference. I'm very pleased to be here, a co-panelist as well, and to be hearing from each of them. Let me just say these are very, very exciting times. They're exciting times for the university, they're exciting times for College Park, and they're exciting times for smart growth. You'll be hearing more about the university and other aspects of this from people far more qualified than I. But one thing is certain to me, and that is that for a university to be truly great in today's world, it must be connected to the world, and for a university to be great, it must be connected to its own community. Without that, greatness is going to be very difficult to achieve. And you think of the campuses that were just mentioned, and think about this connection. That is the vision really that is transforming universities all around the nation and around the world. Simple vision to be connected to the world and to be connected to the community. In my role as president of Smart Growth America's Leadership Institute, I speak all over the country and indeed around the world on these issues. And often the focus is the role of a university, the role that a university can play in revitalization and growth of a community. And it's fascinating how similar, how common these problems are. I spoke not too long ago in India at 2 campuses. They're facing exactly the same issues, maybe a larger magnitude, but the same type of challenges. Let me tell you what I see happening right here, right now, with the University of Maryland, the town of College Park, and the College Park City University partnership. I see all 3 partners working together to become a real model university, town, smart growth community. And I see that coming about with a focus on creating a walkable, pedestrian and bicycling friendly place with a real sense of place. You know, to attract the shiny brights of the world today, whether it's faculty and research, or whether it's students, or whether it's employees or citizens of the town, you must have a real sense of place. People look for that sense of place, and look strongly for the type of community I just described. It's walkable, pedestrian, bicycling friendly place. It's also, that must be a place that's based on mixed use and on sustainable development. It must be a place that is a thriving community that has strong values about equity, inclusion, and shared prosperity. I also see a transit-oriented smart growth community that connects the citizens of College Park and the members of the university community to the world. Just think about what is unfolding right now, even as we speak. The 5 Purple Line stops linked to 3 metro lines, and then connected by way of Amtrak and MARC to DC, to Baltimore, Philadelphia, New York, and to the great airports along that corridor, including our favorite, I am certain, BWI. I see a model smart growth corridor that extends from the Beltway all the way to the DC line. If you look at these communities and what is happening here, College Park, Riverdale Park, Hyattsville, where my roots were, and I made the same venture of arriving 50 years ago and not finding a place to live, and fortunately I just settled down here and it's worked well. Mount Rainier, all of these communities are not just growing, it's the type of investment that occurs. I was over in Hyattsville the other day, and also Riverdale Park, and when you look at what is happening up and down this corridor, we should remember a basic rule, and that is that blight breeds blight. And the reverse of that is that vision and investment breeds vision and investment. And you can see it on this wonderful corridor. Just think of that corridor as a smart growth heart of Prince George's County and even of the region, led by the university, by College Park, and by that partnership. I see the university in College Park as a recognized world-class center of innovation, knowledge, and entrepreneurship. If you look at what is already happening on the east side of campus near the metro station, where the Discovery District is home to high-tech employees, the NOAA Center for Weather and Climate Prediction, FlexCell, which is a manufacturer of small flexible batteries, the Fraunhofer Center for Experimental Software Engineering. All this is taking place right now. And these stand on the shoulders of developers and people. I mentioned Scott Plank and David Hillman, who have recognized this is a community worthy of significant investment. These successes did not just happen. The last 2 decades of leadership have brought a new era of hard work, of collaboration, and most importantly, of vision. We should recognize that it was not always this way. I recall as Prince George's County Council member and then 12 years as executive, and at the same time, all those years serving on the faculty here, I recall some of the early challenges and quite candidly some of the failures and the mistakes that were made. There was a start and stop of cooperative education efforts between the university and county. There were battles over building bypasses and major new highways in this area, and there were the usual town-gown controversies. There was one mistake in particular that was a very huge mistake, and it's the one that's a challenge that the university and College Park are still working to overcome. I must say in all candor that was made on my watch. I bear a significant amount of responsibility for that. And that was allowing the College Park Metro Station, the Green Line, to be constructed so far from the heart of campus and making it practically useless as an actual campus asset. I think back, and President Lowe asked me several years ago to address the faculty about this, which I did, but I think back to the times, and the university's official position was it did not want the metro stop on campus. Surrounding towns, official position, they did not want the metro going through the towns. You can't get to there from here unless you go through something. And yet there was a strong opposition. I must tell you, in all candor, part of this, I think, was reflections of maybe not blatant racism, but certainly a lack of understanding of inclusion and diversity in the community. I can remember statements being made at public hearings that said, we do not want crime spillover from the District of Columbia. Now, as an elected official, I can tell you that's a code word, and most people in this room know that as well. That's a code word. And I went to Governor Hughes, and I was very concerned because the Green Line was one of the last lines being constructed. And I could see what was going to happen. We were the poor jurisdiction. That's odd because we're very, very wealthy, but poor relative to Fairfax and Montgomery County. And we were the poor jurisdiction, and I could see them saying, oops, we've run out of money, we're not going to be able to build the Green Line. And so I went to Governor Hughes then, and I went to Congressman Steny Hoyer, and we held a press conference, and we said that unless there was a commitment to move the Green Line construction ahead, the state would stop making its contribution, and we would, in fact, basically withdraw. I don't know whether we ever really would have done it, but we made that very clear. And having said so, we faced our own, if you will, internal opposition, our devils ourselves. And now we were in a ridiculous position because we threatened to walk if they didn't build, and when they said, okay, we build, then there was no agreement where to build. And part of that was the reason I acquiesced into a line that was physically able to be being constructed, but was a disaster in terms of the actual location. Now, fortunately, the purple line will correct all of these problems, but we also learned a lot from that, I think. Maybe at an expensive cost. We learned a little bit about who we are as a society, but we also learned you have to make some decisions that puts the focus on the university and on the town and on working together and not permit something like that to divide as much as it did. That having been said, and bearing the responsibility for a good portion of that decision as well, what we've seen in the last couple of decades has been a dramatically different approach. A new era of hard work, of collaboration, and of vision. This work was laid, the foundation really for an extraordinary future for the university and for College Park. We should remember that even as we celebrate here today, that there are continuing challenges facing us. There are challenges like securing a major state commitment to convert US 1 corridor into a Grand Boulevard going from the Beltway all the way to the District of Columbia line. I mean, just imagine people being able to walk and a bicycle and, if not light rail, but at least some type of circulator system all of these communities up and down this corridor enjoying the cultural, the educational, and the sports, and the business, and the employment opportunities of this town. It is happening elsewhere, and it can happen here. And if you look at the difference that is occurring where that type of street has been put in partnership with the state, you'll see that. The challenge is also about creating a truly inclusive, smart growth community. One that addresses head-on the issues of growing inequity and inequality in America. One that helps deal with the problems of exclusion and division, and instead moves us toward a more united community, and one who has as a basic principle not only equity, but shared prosperity. We are never going to be prosperous, truly prosperous, unless all of us are prosperous. And that's the unique challenge, I think, that faces us, that we can indeed meet. These are all major challenges. They're bigger than this university and this town, but they can be met. There's no question in my mind. A decade from now, when people talk about great universities working in partnership with the community to move everyone ahead, they're going to be talking about the obvious examples of the University of North Carolina, the University of Michigan. They're going to be talking about universities that have just emerged in this role in recent years. The University of Pennsylvania, with your great work there as well. University of Pittsburgh, University of Arizona. This is happening all across America. And when they talk about these universities and what is occurring elsewhere at the town relation and addressing these issues, I say with certainty that they will also point to the dramatic successes at the University of Maryland, College Park, and the College Park City University Partnership. Thank you all for being part of this great challenge. Thank you for what you have done, but thank you even more for helping bring us to that type of future. I appreciate it.